Today we're working on the Impala again, done with that Aveo for now. We're going to be trying to build a battery mount, which is going to go right in here under that fender, and we're going to try to get the bulkhead mounted, which will go, obviously back there for the AC and heater lines. Right now we're going to take the turbo off so we can get in and out easier and not have to fight with it. Update on the front end of the car. We got all the headlights in, park lights in. We went with a new style headlight. We can turn them on and show you what they look like. We got the passenger side park light unplugged because that's where the goes through. The battery's going to mount. But high beams, low beams, everything looks pretty nice. Real white light with the headlights. So one more step closer. Now we'll just get this turbo pulled off so we can get in there and work on that inner fender. Got our steel out here. This is a piece of 11 gauge steel we're going to use to build the base for our battery tray. Should be plenty heavy. I'm going to go with a piece about 16 inches long. That way it can go all the way inside the fender and have a good place to tie in, because we'll probably make this bolt in. And we're going to go about 7¼ inches wide for the battery. So we're going to get it marked up, and then we'll use the plasma cutter to cut it off. So if you watch this video and you make plasma tables, we are open for sponsorships. Here's the plate inside the car with the battery just sitting on it. Got our towel in there so we don't scuff the paint too bad, but this way the battery will be out of the way. The only downside is it'll be a bit of a pain to change. You have to pull the turbo off, but that only takes about 5 minutes. So we're gonna work on mounting the battery securely to the plate, and then we'll work on mounting the plate securely in the car. Got the battery out of the car sitting on the plate where it's going to go. We marked it in the car, and then we moved it out just a little bit so we'll have room to get our mount for the hold down over here. What we're doing is he's cutting some flat bar, 1/2 inch thick or 1/2 inch wide, that is going to go all the way around on 3 sides of the battery, so that it can't move side to side or front to back. And then we'll have a strap, a metal strap that comes up over the top and bolts down on this side so we can hold the battery down nice and solid. So we'll get these pieces cut and welded on, and then we'll work on the strap to hold it in. Got the little pieces cut and put on. They're just kind of leaning up there right now. We'll get them tacked on here in a minute. This side is not going to have one, so the battery can just slide straight in because of the space issues. And then we've got enough room on this side to build our strap that's going to go up over the top and bolt it in. And we'll have a nut and a bolt or something down here to hold it all together. Got the piece over here on the bench, getting ready to weld this. We're not going to weld it solid, just put a couple nice stitches down the sides. Getting ready to start welding, and I found out that last time I changed the bottles on the welder, I didn't take my helmet off before I put the hose on, so now we got to take the hose back apart to get the helmet off. Got this all welded together, got 3 stitches on the sides and 2 on the back. Should be plenty to hold it in. We're going to cool this thing off and then set the battery back in the car and see if it still fits. Here's where the battery is going to sit. We're going to build our little stands that are going to go in here to hold it up off the inner fender. We'll build little feet with big washers to spread the load out. And then we'll get this edge trimmed. We don't know if we might just round these corners, or we might try to bend it down so it's flows better with the inner fender, and then it'll obviously get painted, probably black. And yeah, we're pretty much there. Just got to figure out our strap across the top, but that should be pretty simple. Got some pieces of all thread cut. Got 4 of them here. One of them standing up. That's where we're gonna weld this right to the bottom here on that mark, and then we're gonna set it back in the car. And what we're gonna do with this all thread is we're gonna have a nut here to adjust the height, and then we'll have a washer on the bottom. And once we get the height adjusted, all that'll be welded so it can't move. And it should be a pretty solid battery mount. And then we'll have a nut and a big fender washer on the bottom also to try to spread the load out so we don't tear the inner fender up. But we're going to get these welded on right now and then get it test fitted back in the car. Okay, got the battery in here sitting on the stand, and these are supported by the little feet which we just welded on the bench, and we got our nuts to set the height. And it's sitting pretty level. It's tucked away out of the way of the turbo and all that. So we're gonna pull it back out, and we'll weld the nuts to the all thread, and then we're gonna weld a flat washer to the nut just to spread the load out. And then it'll be ready to put back in for good after we clean up this front edge and paint it. So now we'll take it back out. Okay, this is where we're at so far. We got these pieces tacked on. We decided to go with 2 just for the way it looks, and we've got this piece on the end that's going to tie it together. These are going to get welded on from the bottom, and we're going to take this off real quick and drill a hole. So our plan for this is to get a really long bolt, which is actually just another piece of all thread with a nut welded on one end, and we'll have a nut welded on the bottom side down here underneath, so we can just run a long bolt straight down. And then the battery shouldn't have anywhere to go, and we'll just have to worry about cleaning this edge up here, which I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut it with the angle iron most of the way through and then fold it down so it kind of flows with the inner fender, and then we'll weld the seam, grind it down, and paint it. Got the hole drilled here. Just going to tack this on, then get the battery out and weld all of these joints up, and it should be almost ready to get it painted, put in the car.
Snug fit.
Got it all put together. Got the crack welded on the front where we folded it, and we got the nut welded in underneath. So we're going to get it painted. It's got a bend in it, like you can see right there, just from test fitting it in the car. We didn't think of that being a tight fit on the fender. So if we were to do this again, we would weld nuts to the bottom here, so we could just bolt it up from the bottom and not have to worry about a fitment issue putting it in. But it should still work pretty good. We're going to get it painted and get it put in the car, and then we'll show it to you once it's in the car. On the battery tray to dry, we got it up on top of the stove, drying up nice. We're going to try to get the bulkhead mounted for the AC and heater lines, which is going to go back there where we already drilled one hole, which is fun because I never get to drill holes in his cars, but he always drills holes in mine. So We drilled the hole, but it's not big enough, so we're going to get the bigger step bit and go one size bigger so that this fitting will go through, and we got 3 of these and 1 smaller one to drill. That fit or no? I don't think I went anywhere. Let me go. Perfect. Here are the fittings from the inside. Amazingly, all the holes lined up first try. I think he only let me drill the holes so that if they went wrong, he could blame it on me. But I haven't seen it from the outside yet. So there they are from the outside. So we'll just have to get some fittings to put on these to adapt them to our heater hoses and AC lines. But looks pretty good back there, and it's not in your line of sight, so they don't stand out too bad. Now all the paint's dry, so we'll get the battery tray put back in and bolted down so we can actually have a battery in the car instead of one hanging out on the outside. Alright, got the battery mount painted, got our bolt put together and painted for it, and it's in there. And it's real solid. You'd have probably ripped the inner fender out before you got the battery to come out. So we're not going to put the turbo back on yet because we'll still have to get the battery out again when we make our cables so we can actually get the battery hooked up. And we might have to take the inner fender out when we do our plumbing on the bulkhead, but that's 2 more things to check off the list. Just getting closer and closer to where we can actually, you know, maybe drive this thing one day or at least move it around the shop. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.